So, you're a business owner dedicated to the significant and sustainable growth of both you and your business. Welcome to the Add a Zero podcast.
Hi, and welcome to the Add a Zero podcast. I'm Jay Allen, the founder of Add a Zero, and this week we're talking all about sales. Now, I'm not talking about the stuff on a big ship. I'm talking about the rhythmic acquisition of cash into your business. And yet so many people are so aspirational about what they want to achieve, be it a 10K month or a 10K day or a 10K hour, whatever metric it is that you're trying to measure the business within. This idea that we've got to be able to generate more and more and more almost puts too much pressure on us to be able to understand how to be able to dissect the cell. I'm talking about the cell as opposed to the microbiological cell, but how to dissect the cell into equal and understandable parts to understand where we are, where the customer or prospect is in the journey, and how to be able to move them collectively forward that we end up with the right outcome. So today is all around dissecting the cell. First of all, we need to understand about our customer. And as you already know from the previous podcast, we've already talked about marketing and the ideal target client audience. So let's assume that we've already attracted someone that's shown an interest. Remember, marketing's job is to be able to create awareness. Sales's job is to be able to convert that awareness into a sale or into cash or into the exchange of goods in some way or another. So marketing and sales work hand in hand with each other, but marketing's job is to make the phone ring or the email inquiry, and sales's job is to be able to convert that successfully into some business. However, it's not simply a case of how did you want to pay? And yet so many people in business seems to have a very weak or ad hoc sales process that I would consider the buyer-seller dance doesn't go in your favour. So for this episode, I want you to give considerations to what I call a win-win-win outcome. Let me just quickly identify what that means, and then we can dive into how to be able to achieve it successfully, succinctly, and repetitively throughout the rest of your business. What does a win-win mean? Well, we've heard the expression time and time again. Well, it's a win-win deal. They'll get something and I'll get something, everything's good. And I'm sure that you've previously been to networking events and to meetings where we've talked or thought about win-win outcomes. And yet, I want to challenge you and suggest that that is both short-term and incorrect if we want to be able to build a sustainably scalable business. Let me help you understand what I mean. You see, the energy in which we address things, the energy in which we come into the business has a direct impact on how the outcome is achieved. And if we go into a scenario saying, well, if I do something for them, they'll do something for me, it's a win-win outcome, we're almost putting too much pressure into the situation by implying that because I've done something for you, I naturally expect something from you. And that energy is the first thing that's going to cause friction, which if the person's not ready to move forward with, is likely to cause a sticking point or a problem, or possibly even push people further away from you than it is to be able to draw people to you. It's going to almost counterbalance what marketing's job of creating that awareness is done so successfully. So let's not go into a win-win outcome. Let's go into an outcome of sales as a service. Yeah, you heard me right there. Not just me as my true north and selling my services, but understanding that the sales process is about serving the person that's made the inquiry. It's about being almost subservient to them. It's about understanding that they currently have a problem which we probably can address and help resolve. But it's only by understanding more about the problem and the customer and how best we might be able to help to establish as to whether we and what we have to offer is the right fit. So first of all, the first process of sales, the first element of a sale should be information gathering. It should simply be asking a lot of questions. Now, the chances are that some of our customers or prospects at this point are going to say, how much does it cost? And we'd be tempted to be able to quote a figure. And the simple fact is that unless you're selling a commodity where they're all stacked high and you're selling them cheap, if you are, then the chances are that it's probably best time to press pause or stop on this podcast and move somewhere else, because that's not the type of client that I tend to work with best. I'm looking for people that understand that sustainable scale determines that we have to be able to be of service to the people that we're working with, and we attract the right people to us so we can have the right engagement and build a lifetime value, not just a return on investment for today's purchase. So, at the first step of the sale, we should be asking lots of questions. We should be understanding more about what the problem is, how long it's been a problem, the impact that having this problem is having on the business, or the hurdle or challenge that it's creating, and what's likely to happen if we don't address it. What's likely to be the outcome if you leave it as it is. We need to understand more about the customer and the journey that they've been on so far, some of the things that they've tried and perhaps failed or partially implemented. We need to understand as to the impact what we're going to do for them is going to have, in order to be able to ensure that the product or service that we sell them is the most relevant and right for where they are and what they need to achieve. There's no point selling them something that they've already done previously and we're just reselling the same thing again and again. So the first step is about inquiry. It's about being able to ask lots of questions and to listen. Now, don't get me wrong, I have been a poor listener. I'm really good at hearing things. I have been a poor listener. And the job of a good sales professional is to be able to be a proactive listener. We've got to be listening for the things that aren't being said as much as the things that are being shared. We've got to be willing to be investigative, curious, being able to challenge people's perceptions if and when we feel necessary to do so. We've got to be able to show an interest in not just them as a person or trying to sell them a product or service, but the impact this is going to have on them post-acquisition, post-sale, and how that will best support them. It's only once we've been able to inquire and get sufficient information that we can then make a decision, what of the many products and services do we have available that is the best fit for what it is that they're trying to achieve. Now we can start to introduce them to some of the aspects of the best product or service to offer them, and perhaps a couple of alternatives or some additives. It might be an upgrade or a downsell. It might be how to tweak and amend an off-the-shelf package to make it truly bespoke for what it is that they're looking for. And now we can start to shape what it is that we're going to be able to make available to them. Then is the point where we go through the time, quality, and cost questions. Now, don't get me wrong. It doesn't matter whether these people are asking the questions. It does matter as to whether we're sharing the information. What I mean is, for every human being to make a conscious and comfortable buying decision, they have to have satisfied questions on 3 different perspectives. They need to understand more about the quality, what it is that they're buying. That might be skills and experience and qualifications, or time served, or how competent we are at being able to do the job, how many times we've done it before. It might be what does the end product or service look like and how is it going to make them or enhance what they have already. Quality might be around the types of products that we use or types of service that we deliver. Is it cheap and cheerful, or is it a high-end bespoke product? So there'll be a whole series of things that they want to be able to satisfy both their conscious mind and their subconscious mind, the things that they're possibly not even thinking yet, but are likely to cause hurdles if we go for a sale before those uncertainties have been verified. So our job is to be able to ensure that through conversation and question, we've satisfied all of the possible questions around quality. Another one of those aspects is time. That might be how long have you been doing the job, or how long will it take between us making a decision to work together before the solution's in place and I'm starting to see the benefit of it. It could be how long do you need to be on site for, or how long is it going to be unsightly. It could be how long is the transition period between where we are now and where we need to be. So there'll be a whole series of questions or uncertainties around time. And again, our job is to be able to satisfy those. But the third aspect, and the one that usually most business owners stall or stumble on, is around the cost of investment, the price. And when someone says, how much is it? And you go, it could be a little bit, I'm not quite sure. The moment you show uncertainty in price is the moment that they know that this is not the right deal. And the chances are that if you're not compelling and showing certainty in exactly what it is that you offer, how you offer it, how it's going to enhance them, and how much it's worth, then in actual fact, for every little aspect of your uncertainty is magnified as it transfers across, and it gives them great concern with regards to being able to move forward and work with you. Therefore, when it comes to price, we have to be comfortable, open, honest and transparent, and share the level of investment or price or fee, rather than talking about the cost of things. Cost tends to be a negative connotation and something that is going to likely to move people away from us, whereas if we're talking about an investment, it's likely to be able to understand the benefits that they're going to get from doing so. So the language we use is key to being able to help people to feel more confident in what we do. But when it comes to the investment that we make, we have to say it with confidence. So one of the things that I invite people to do is just take a quick look at your watch, and at the moment of time of recording this, it's 10:32. So when it comes to somebody asking me the price, I'm going to use the words in exactly the same phrase and tonality as if they just asked me the time. It's 10:32, it's £1,032. I haven't gone, or I haven't shirked, I haven't whispered, I haven't done any facial expressions. That I've been comfortable and confident that, oh, what do you know? The price has just gone up. It's now 10:33. It's £1,033. It's about being able to have the right tonality. It's about having the right confidence, and it's about being able to deliver the message succinctly and in a way that is compelling, but also gives them confidence that this is the right things to be able to do. So that's the first aspect of sales, is to understand that there is a process to go through, and the moments that you are either selling, the moment that you are either trying to convince, the moment that you are speaking too much rather than listening, is the chances are that you're losing the battle. There's a great idea and theory around sales that says the more that you're talking, the more that you're losing. The chances are that you end up spending too much time trying to convince people, and as a result of that, it's less compelling to make the right choice when it comes to working with you or with one of your competitors. So learn to ask questions, actively listen, show interest, have good body language, lean in, starts to be able to understand what it is that the problem has been, how long has it been a problem, what are you going to be able to do to fix that, what will that allow you to be able to do, touch the emotional connection with regards to the outcome rather than just the productivity of being able to fix something or sell something, as to how will you now feel once we've been able to get this done, and what will that enable you to do. All of these questions that are empowering the customer to be able to make a better decision, and then to be able to deliver the cost of investment, and then button it. Simply, almost physically, hold your lip and be quiet. And let that sink with them. Let that sit with them. Let it just be there. Don't feel compelled to fill the silence. Wait. The silence is golden. And automatically, almost compellingly, the first persons to break it is the one that wins the deal. And if you wait long enough and they break the silence, then the chances are it's to say, and how would we make that payment? Or when would that payment need to be made? Or do you take credit card? Or some means of being able to move the conversation forward. And if you break it, it's likely to push them back into, well, I've got some more questions, or I'm not quite ready to make a decision yet. Can you stick it on an email? We'll think about it later. So when it comes to sales and the rhythmic acquisition of cash into the business and having a sales pipeline, first of all, it's about knowing your customer and knowing exactly what it is that we should be offering them. Secondly, it's about asking lots of questions to understand as to exactly what the problem is and how what we're going to offer them is going to be able to resolve that and make it better for them longer term. Thirdly, it's about being able to help them understand the emotional connections to both the difficulties and the challenges that we've faced previously, and then subsequently what it will enable them to be able to do once the solution's been put in place. And then finally, it's about answering those quality and time and cost questions to enable people to be able to feel confident to be able to move forward in being able to purchase from you. However, that is just the sales process. Sales subsequently then quickly hands over to operations, who's responsible for doing the onboarding and for being able to ensure that they have a good experience as they move into becoming a customer with the business. So whilst one hand is holding marketing, the other one is holding operations to ensure that from the time of purchase, that buyer's remorse, that risk that we have when we've spent some money and we haven't yet had the benefit of what it is that we've purchased, is managed by a good first-class onboarding process. So that's the sales process in dissecting a sell. I guess I'm questioning you with regards to what do you have in place right now and how clockwork does that work for you? Have you got a system and a process and a structure that enables you to be able to do so? Have you identified as to exactly where the risks or the hurdles or the bottlenecks are within it? And what are you doing to be able to resolve it? One of the things that you might be interested in is within My True North, we have a sales pipeline process that I'd love to be able to share with you. And all you need to do is to be able to get in touch, either drop an email to inquiries@mytruenorth.biz or visit our website, www.mytruenorth.biz, and go into the products page, or services rather, where you'll be able to notice exactly what it is that we offer in terms of one-off engagements, short-term engagements, ongoing engagements, and some of the features and benefits within each. God bless, take care. I look forward to being able to speak to you again next week when we'll be talking about the finance within a business and understanding where the cash comes from, how it travels through the business, and where it goes to. God bless, take care. I'll see you again next week.
That's all for this episode. As always, we really thank you for listening and welcome your comments, thoughts, and suggestions. So please do drop us a line by emailing podcast@mytruenorth.biz. And don't forget, if you haven't already done so, hit the subscribe button on whichever platform you're listening to this through. And tell your colleagues and business network all about who we are. You've been listening to the Add a Zero podcast presented by Jay Allen. Brought to you in association with My True North, the UK's leading ethical coaching company.